Number 31. It says, using the data from problem 30, create histograms for both games 1 and 2, make intervals of 2 points. And then at the very end, once we create those histograms, it's asking us to answer the question, how are the games different? So we have our two data points for game 1 and game 2. So I'm going to set up a histogram. Remember, it's going to kind of look something like this. On the bottom is going to be the points, and then it says in intervals of 2. So I'll go 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. And then going up the vertical column would be the frequency. That's how many of each type we have. So while yours may not look exactly like this, it's probably going to look something like this. Points along the bottom, frequency along the side. And we need one for game 1, and we need one for game 2. Remember that these things, these things along the bottom are called intervals or bins. So the 0 to 2 bin has the data points 0 and 1, and all the way up to 2, but not 2. This bin from here to here would include 2 and 3, but it wouldn't include 4, because 4 is in this bin. So remember that number, whatever it is, if it's 6, it's counting in that bin to the right of it. So let's get going, making our very first histogram. We're going to start with game 1. And I'm just looking, do I have any data points in the 0 to 2 range? No, I do not. How about the 2 to 4? I do. I have 1, 4. So on my histogram, it's not going to be in the 2 to 4 range. It's going to be in the 4 to 6 range. I'm going to include a frequency of 1. Now I'm looking for numbers between 6 and 8, so 6 and 7. Do I have any numbers that are between 6 and 7? No, I do not. So that's going to be blank. Moving on to my next bin, I'm looking for numbers between 8 and 10, so 8 and 9. Do I have any of those numbers? Yes, I do. Looks like I have 2 of those. Okay, my next bin, I'm looking for numbers 10 and 11. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers there. So my histogram is going to go all the way up to 4 for the 10 to 12 bin. Next bin, I'm looking for numbers 12 and 13. I have a 12 and another 12, so this one's going to go up to 2. And then lastly, do I have anything between 14 and 16? Yes, I have 14, so 14 is going to go up to a frequency of 1. Okay, so that's what game 1 would look like. Yours will probably, if it's not identical, it will look pretty darn similar. All right, moving on to game 2. I'm going to move at a faster pace for this one. So if you haven't done it yet, pause the video. And if you have, you'll just be able to check your answers pretty quickly. Okay, so game 2 is finished. And now we go back to this question here. It says, how are the games different? Well, you might notice that game 2 is a little more spread out. Game 1 looks like it has kind of like a big center peak here, where game 2 is more spread out or more uniform. They call this single peaked because it has like a single peak or a single mountain. And there's no real definitive peak in game 2, so they call this uniform, meaning it's all about the same. Okay, that's number 31.